The treatment of war veterans would likely come as a shock to many. The men and women who fought for our freedom being treated poorly sounds like a lie. But the treatment of soldiers in today's society is a contributing factor to why soldiers cannot step away from the war and come back to real life. A real-life story of poor treatment of our vets would be John Sheardown, who is a Canadian war veteran from World War II, and he suffers from Alzheimer's and is still recovering from a broken hip. He sits in a hospital and is on a waiting list to get into a veterans home for 18 months. A man who fought for our freedom has to wait 18 months for a spot in a veterans home? Many people have been calling this a national embarrassment. The late Jack Layton called this situation heartbreaking and said, "Here's somebody who through his whole life, going back to the Second World War, has served his country, and now, when he is in need, the country is not there for him." Layton also added that Mr. Sheardown's situation is not unique, as a shortage of beds in veterans' homes is becoming a recurring issue. This all coming from an article from 2010 in the Star newspaper. Soldiers who suffer from trauma or injury from the war need a special place to stay. If there is no room for them, they will begin to become homeless and could possibly start living in the war once again. In Slaughterhouse 5, Billy Pilgrim was treated very poorly by his neighbors and really anybody who walked by him. Billy would always say that everybody looks at me as if I were crazy. When Billy was in the hospital, the man in the bed beside him told Billy that he was crazy and that he was lying about being in Dresden. How people treat veterans of the war majorly affects the veterans and affects